South Global.
You ever hear kids saying like they want to be lawyers or doctors or?
I mean, it's rare. It's rare. You have kids that are like, I want to go be a rapper. Or you have kids that are like, they're just, I want to go be a bottle girl. And I want that to be because, they making money. Or I want to go be a stripper because, they making money. Not holding nothing down against them. Don't cancel me. Not holding nothing against them because, they out there hustling, they out there making their money. But that didn't used to be the first route. You get what I'm saying? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher, a lawyer, and a doctor. I had 3 options. Those are my 3 options. And I'm not saying all kids are like that because you have a lot of kids who really want to go be nurses, but you want to know why they want to be nurses? Because they're making bank right now. But nurses.
Good for people to know what's going on. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Andrea Johnson, and I just finished up my 2nd year of teaching. I have taught 6th and 8th grade science, as well as 10th, 11th, and 12th grade science.
Okay. Now, what made you want to get into being a teacher, and what was the process?
Honestly, when I graduated in 2019. I originally wanted to go to nursing school, but we all know the pandemic hit. But that was kind of, I would say, what kind of leading me more away from nursing school. But it was more so I just felt like that wasn't 100% my passion.
Okay. So basically you started teaching right before the pandemic hit?
No, I graduated spring of 2019. I said I was going to take a year off before I got into nursing school or went to nursing school. Mainly the reason why I said that and I told my family that is because I just really wanted that year to truly find myself. So I didn't start teaching until after the pandemic, during the pandemic in a way, so fall of 2020.
Okay. Now, being as though that you are a teacher, you are teaching our youth, you know what I'm saying, the children of the future, of course. What would you say your teaching experience has been since coming back post-pandemic?
So I'm one of those teachers they call pandemic teachers because we literally came in during all of this where no one knew nothing. No one knew what was going on. It was just trial and error for literally every single person out there. I mean, there were teachers who had 10 plus years of experience not knowing what to do because they weren't used to technology. So for me, it was more so, I'm young, I'm used to technology, I'm used to, social media, all of that good stuff. So it really wasn't hard because coming into teaching was the pandemic year. So pandemic situations was just what I was used to. So it wasn't nothing new.
Right. Now, there was a lot of videos and stuff going viral on social media, like kids not paying attention in class, kids raising kids on camera, stuff like that. What's some of your experiences that you experienced, during the pandemic teaching through actual, webcam?
So when we started off with everyone being virtual, and we had to go back into the workplace, I guess, for us to get adjusted to it.
So you guys went back before the students?
Correct. So we went back, I would say, 4 weeks before the students came in. But I think it was more so, when I say no one knew what they were doing, I mean from administrators to districts, even to TEA. No one knew what was going on. No one knew what to do. No one knew how to get back into regular schooling. So that year became one of those option years where it was you can keep your student at home or you can bring them back into the classroom. So basically what happened is once they did allow students to come back in, it was half and half. So you had some of those kids that came back in and you had some of those kids that stayed virtual. And I would say that within itself was just so hard because people have to realize that when it comes to kids, they need 100% attention. And no one was getting 100% attention. You had to worry about classroom management. Classroom management is 96% of teaching, in my opinion. Because you can go, I have a biology degree, but if you can't manage your classroom, you won't be able to teach anything. So it was more classroom management and trying to understand how to get the kids in class to pay attention. They still have behavior issues, of course, but now you also have this new situation where you have kids on camera who essentially aren't on camera because they're either sleeping, they're doing chores, playing video games, watching TV, or simply just not paying attention. So it was just very difficult, I would say.
So, wow, you're basically telling me you had to manage your classroom, and while you're managing your classroom, you have to manage your online classroom as well.
Correct.
Make sure kids are paying attention not only in your presence, but online as well.
Correct.
Damn. Now, okay, how do you, how do you keep the balance of doing that? So how does that work? How do you reprimand kids who's sitting at home? You can't do them anything. They're at home. What are they gonna do?
I would say, like I said, it was new, it was different. I mean, again, this is my first year teaching, so It was something I came into.
Right.
But I would say this, 100%, it was every single teacher's first year teaching that year. And I say that because we were all new to this. I came in, I was being asked questions about how to work technology. And it wasn't a bad thing because, some people just weren't used to technology. They were used to pencil and paper. But now we're in a new world where our kids are literally on iPads 24/7 all day. And that was another issue because kids' iPads were dying during the day. Or they'll forget them at home, and their work had to be 100% online. We could not give them paper. We could not give them paper.
Wow.
It had to strictly be online. So
why couldn't you give them paper?
Because of COVID. So it was more so COVID restrictions to make sure this was, I guess, the districts and TEA's way of just saying, we're making sure your kids are staying safe. We're getting rid of the transmission process, all of that good stuff. So it was just strictly, they get their iPad. My kids had iPads. Every district has something different. But they had their iPads. We used something called Canvas. We uploaded their work on Canvas. They had to do their work on Canvas, everything. It first started off with the kids, every single kid had to join Zoom, whether they were in class or if they were on at home. Found out very quickly that was a hot mess express because now you have one class I had, I believe, 16 kids back. So now you have 16 kids in class getting on Zoom talking, and then now you're trying to talk, and it was just all over the place. But it was a process. We all had to get used to it. The kids had to get used to it, but it was just hard to classroom management was so difficult.
No, for sure. Now, if you had to say how the COVID pandemic affected the learning process for the kids that we have this day, how big of an impact would you say that COVID had on children?
It's to the point that I don't think people realize. People say, oh, it impacted teachers a lot. It 100% impacted those kids more than it impacted anyone. And I say that because when COVID happened, spring 2020, I wasn't teaching, but I know the stories. They passed those kids. Whether if they had a 0 at the beginning of that semester, whether if they had a 5, they got a passing grade. They all passed and they went to the next grade. So essentially it was more so, we don't have to do any work because they're just gonna pass us. So now we're into fall 2020 and here everyone goes, just go with the flow. And it's we're not bringing these kids in easily or gradually, letting them adapt to their new learning environment. So basically during that time, it was more so, I don't want to do work. I don't want to do nothing. I didn't have to do nothing last year. Or not last year, really in the spring. We didn't do anything. We joined, we got off, we called it a day. We don't have to do none of that now. We don't have to learn. And I would say this, not all kids are like this, but it happened. So now here we are, 2021. Everyone's back in school and it's supposed to be normal. We're supposed to forget about everything that they went through. because if COVID impacted anyone, it impacted those kids. I think about when I was in high school, I was very social. I was a cheerleader, I talked to everybody, I tried to talk to everybody. That was at school, of course. I can only imagine how depressing I would have been, or how depressing I would have felt if I had to stay home, not talk to anyone, not see anyone. The only time I saw anyone is when I joined Zoom.
So do you feel like kids are less social?
They're gradually getting back because we're towards the end of the year. They're gradually getting there. I have some kids that are just the pandemic really scared them that they sit in corners, they don't talk to anyone, none of that. Because they're just a lot of anxiety was built up from COVID. Then you have some kids who are just so behind because they didn't pay attention for 2 years.
Now, when you say behind, like, what do you mean by that?
I mean, you have third graders who can't read. Like, that's how bad it is, and people don't realize it. And now it's like, well, we need the teachers to get on this, that, and the third. We have to realize that maybe we need to change the curriculum up a little bit to adjust to them, so we can adapt to them, so that they can have a safer environment or safer learning environment and don't feel like they're 100% behind. They're behind. We all know it.
Do you feel like kids notice that, like, I'm behind?
Yes. I remember I have a great principal. He's amazing. Remember at the beginning of the year, he said, we're gonna have this conversation right here, right now. We're gonna let it go. We know the kid's behind. We know we can't, we just have to keep moving. And that's honestly what we had to do. And I believe 100% that is every school district, every school in the United States of America, really in the world. We know that the kids are behind. We can't hold that against them. Let's get them caught up. But now we look back at it, and you know what? Some kids, they did great. Amazing. They were able to catch up. They struggled along the ways. And then I have my kids who are super duper smart. And, they were able to understand and catch up. But, at the beginning of this year, the school year, we were all kind of like, oh, how is this going to go? They haven't really been 100% in school. Some kids don't know anything. And I still have some kids that came to class, and bless their hearts, they struggled because they knew nothing, because they've missed out on 2 years of schooling because they were at home and not doing anything.
Damn. Now, I noticed like homeschooling has been a big thing here recently, you know what I'm saying? Would you recommend parents to like maybe get more active with their kids as far as, just going over like just simple math?
Yeah.
Like I know as a kid, like my mom used to make me do math problems and stuff over the summertime. Like sometimes I have to come inside and really, do stuff. So do you feel like that's still going on these days, or
no?
How do you feel?
No.
I know it's a lot of young parents as well.
Yes, I would say, and I'm not knocking anyone down for being a young parent. That's amazing. Do I think it's going on? No. And let me tell you why. It's not necessarily because they don't want to or make them do it. It's necessarily because these kids have been through so much in 2 years. We have to give them some kind of break. We just have to. Now, do I think, maybe a week or two out of the month of June and July, should parents sit them down and say, hey, we're going to go over some math work, some reading work, because in reality, that's the main subjects the state care about. But we're going to go over some math, some reading, some history, and some science. That will really help teachers. That will help the kids, essentially, because they're getting that additional help. They're getting that additional work. Now, I will say kids have gotten a lot lazier. We were lazy. Don't get me wrong. We were lazy. No one wants to do work when they get home because, we've been at school for 8 hours, but they're lazy at school too. So it's just more so, I think parents should try to force their kids, and I use the word force because you are going to have to try to force them because they're going to think, this is my summer break, I'm going to enjoy life, turn up, because, they like to use our language now. But, I think it's okay to take at least a week or two out of the month of June and July, to just go over a few of the basics, just to make sure that, their kids are preparing themselves for the school year again. And even a week before school, because I remember when I was in school, my mom would start preparing me to, go to bed at a certain time, at least a week or two before school started. And of course, when I got to high school, we did cheer camp. So the cheer camps kind of prepared me because I have to go to bed and then wake up at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning to go to that. But it just don't need to be athletes. It needs to be all kids. And that's another thing. Kids getting involved in extracurricular activities. I feel like that kind of fell down a little bit, and we need to get that back up because those extracurricular activities, I'm not just talking about football, baseball, basketball, cheerleading, dance, all of that. I mean, if your child likes to play chess, go put them in chess. If your child likes to do spelling bees, go put them in spelling bees. If your child likes to do music, go put them in a music camp, a band camp. Get them involved into something where they're just not sitting at home on their phones 24/7. Literally, TikTok is raising this generation. And I say it's sad because there's nothing wrong. Yeah, grown people too. But I mean, I say like, we had Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff going around, but I mean, MySpace, what else did we have?
Man, we had a lot.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If you had to say like a percentage of like, if you, not even just you, but I know it's just a lot of young parents in general, not just Dallas, not just Texas, but around the world, it's young parents, people having kids at a young age. How attentive do you feel like younger parents are with their children?
I feel, I'm not going to say I have horrible parents. I would say I would love for parents to be more involved, not in just their child's learning, but their child's behavior. Kids have gotten a lot more disrespectful over the last 2 years because you have some kids that were at home babysitting, they were the teacher. So now they get back and it's like, I was a teacher when I was at the house, now you're trying to be my teacher. So I think when it comes to young parents, they're adjusting. So I would say I don't 100% blame them because they are adjusting. I mean, my mom wasn't young. She was in her 23s, 24s when she had me. But now you have literally babies raising babies. I mean, there are kids that are 12, 13, 14, 15 having kids, raising kids. That is just,
crazy.
Yes, it's wild.
Nah, it is, but it's the reality that we live in.
Right.
Now, I want to talk more about the behavioral problems with kids because it was a video of some kids, I think it was DeSoto High School, where they kind of threw a chair at a substitute teacher, and it was a big ordeal. Like, when you see things like that, like, what do you think about that?
I think what has happened, because don't get me wrong, when we were in school, we had our group of kids that, they were wild. But one thing about it is that we weren't truly disrespectful. At the end of the day, that's our elder, so we're going to respect our elder, even if we don't get along with our elder. Kids nowadays, it's like, get respect. When you receive, like when I receive respect, I'll give you respect. That needs to go.
I think kids be disrespectful off the rip, though.
Yeah, I mean, they do. And it's the truth.
They be looking for respect. They just automatically
It's true. I would say this, because I originally started off with high school. And even last year when it was my first year teaching, first year teachers always have it the worst because they're trying to get classroom management. But it's just, my kids had to adapt to me. They had to love me. So you have those kids where if you don't give them love, they're going to continue to disrespect you. And it mainly maybe because they're not receiving love at home. Or maybe because you have some kids out here who are already on the streets hustling. So, they feel like they're 100% or all the way grown, and they're really only 12. You have some kids who are out, there was one school, not going to name it, it wasn't my school. But, you had a girl in high school, she out there, selling weed at the school. There are kids out there who are truly hustling, and I say that because of the lifestyle that they see on social media. Social media is like, they thought it messed us up. It truly has messed this generation up. Like, kids see celebrities with all these BBLs and all this money and all of this Gucci, this, that, and the third. And it's just kind of like when you think about it, you don't even realize that some of those celebrities, they stuff may be fake. Some of those celebrities, they get endorsements. They don't even pay for half of their stuff. That stuff is sent to them. But then you have these kids that want to live these lifestyles because that's what they look up to. You don't have those role models. You know, if you don't have role models at home, you know, we used to have real role models to look up to. I'm not saying that, you know, people are not role models, but you have people who, you know, I want to make money. I want to make quick money. I want to be rich. I want to be, you know, out there driving a Benz and all this other stuff. And it's just kind of like you have to think about it. It comes to you sooner or later. It's not going to come to you right then and there. You know, I have one kid. I sat down and I talked to them, and I was just like, you know, your biggest thing is to make your haters regret being your haters. And I say that as don't just, you know, pass middle school. Pass middle school with the highest grade so you can get a dual credit. Don't even, let me say this, dual credit is a joke as well.
What?
My opinion.
Uh-huh.
No, not dual credit, AP classes. AP classes. Dual credit is good, my bad. But, you know, make good grades so you can get into dual credit. My apologies, yes, dual credit.
You saying AP classes or a joke?
Yes.
Why you say that?
You know, kids take them to boost their GPA, but I wish somebody would have told me to take dual credit classes. And that is high school classes mixed in with college classes.
So when you get to high school, you get out faster.
Not even just get out of high school faster. My college roommate and my best friend, she went to a school in DeSoto that was high school, and they also went to Cedar Valley College to obtain their associate's degree. So, I mean, when she graduated high school, she had an associate's degree and a high school degree and had 2 years left in college. I mean, what? And not only did, like, she had 2 years left in college, I mean, scholarships would come in. Like, she paid for nothing. She got refunds like it was nothing. But not even just that. Like, you don't even, I would say this, I went to college. I graduated my biology degree. I did it in 4 years, praise the Lord, because it was nothing but him. But it's okay not to go to college, but you have to go to school. You have to go to some type of trade school. You have to go do something with your life. Because, I mean, like you see, people are dying every day. I mean, I'm from Mississippi, and I just saw where a young boy, his family literally moved out of Jackson and went to Hattiesburg. They went back for the weekend. Him and his little brother was shot by a drive-by. He was killed. He was 7.
Damn.
So, I mean, even...
there's a lot of that going on just not in the world. So
yeah.
Another question, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah,
but
no.
You did mention role models, and I agree with you. I feel like kids don't have role. Not even just kids, though. Like, it's some older people,
right.
Home motherfuckers don't have
right.
a role model in their life. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that they can look up to and say, damn, they successful.
Right.
I want to be like this. For the most part, it's a lot of people just finding their own way. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Charleston White or not.
No.
He's viral. You know what I'm saying? He's a viral older guy. And basically, he was saying like that the rappers are like poisoning the community. Now, you being a teacher and you kind of with these kids firsthand, how do you feel about that?
You know, people like to, what is it called? What is it called when, you know, the whole social media community goes out against them? Yeah. Cancel. You know, people love to cancel people. So I'm going to say this. I would say that is 100% true. And I say that because I have kids. I'm not going to say this certain rapper's name. I mean, came to school dressed up like him, thinking it was cool. He done went to jail so many times it don't make no sense. He has so many kids that don't make no sense. And it's just like...
Who are you talking about?
I'm not going to say. Because, you know, people like to cancel people.
You talking about a young boy?
I'm not going to say. People like to cancel people.
Okay.
I don't want to be canceled. My social media are already not like that. But I'm just saying, like, you know, going out, being in all these gangs, and let me say this, gangs ain't even really gangs like that no more, and I ain't even really lived that lifestyle. But they not, gangs use, like, back in the day, based off of what my mom is saying, like, you know, most of the time, them gangs in the back in the day, like, they were protecting the community. Now it's just like they're poisoning it, like, shooting these kids up. But rappers, I don't know. I mean, you need better role models. I mean, better role models.
Do you ever hear kids saying like they want to be lawyers or doctors or?
I mean, it's rare. It's rare. You have kids that are like, I want to go be a rapper. Or you have kids that are like, they're just, I want to go be a bottle girl. And I want that to be because, they making money. Or I want to go be a stripper because, they making money. Not holding nothing down against them. Don't cancel me. Not holding nothing against them because, they out there hustling. They out there making their money. But that didn't used to be the first route. You get what I'm saying? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher, a lawyer, and a doctor. I had 3 options. Those are my 3 options. And I'm not saying all kids are like that because you have a lot of kids who really want to go be nurses, but you want to know why they want to be nurses? Because they're making bank right now. But nurses been making bank. People just didn't realize that until the pandemic. You have some people out there who are like, I want to go be a doctor. I have one kid, I have 2 actually. They're like they want to be lawyers, and they almost gave up on that. I said, don't do that. Go for what you want to do. But it was, I want to start making money now. Like, I want that money. And I'm like, the money will come.
And you teach 7th grade?
I teach 6th and 8th grade.
6th and 8th grade.
But I also had high school.
Right. So kids are already like coming to you like, I need to get some money right now.
Yes. They want money in middle school and high school. And I'm like, I'm still trying to get to the money myself. And I'm 25, but they're like, I need the money now. And I'm like, if you don't go work at Chicken Express like I did and go get that little $7.50 an hour, call it a day. But I mean, they want money like now, and they want it quick, fast, in a hurry because, they want that lifestyle.
For sure. Now, being as though that you're a teacher, you do spend a lot of time with these kids. Do you ever feel like they're like your responsibility outside of school? Like, do you ever like try to, I don't want to, I know it's like real, locked down, but do you ever just try to like, get into their personal life outside of school?
A few of my kids, and I know people are gonna probably be like, why? But some of them, they don't. Not all kids come from the best home life, so it's okay to give them your number. Not saying that's the case with all my kids because I just want them to keep in contact with me. But I try to make sure I go to basketball games, football games, everything. My students are not my students, they are my kids. I don't have any kids, and even when I start having kids, my students will be my kids. Like, that's period, point blank. Those are my kids. I love them through and through, no matter what. Like, and it's vice versa, and I think that's the rewarding part about teaching because the pay sure ain't.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that as well.
Yeah,
like this has been a big thing for years. People say teachers are underpaid. Boosie came out even and said, like, man, we need to really come out and pay these teachers because at the end of the day, the teachers are really like, you really are forming the minds that's coming to society later. You know what I'm saying? So like, if y'all don't care about this, not saying you, but if the teachers don't necessarily care about what these kids are doing or how they living and what they're learning, then down the line it's definitely gonna affect everybody.
Right.
You know
because like they used to say, we are the future leaders. They are now our future leaders. They are the people who are supposed to grow up and take care of us. So I would say when it comes to teaching, a lot of people are either getting out of teaching because number one, they're piling on a bunch of stress. Again, not my school.
Dallas has like some of the like they need teachers here.
Let me tell you about Dallas. Dallas need a lot of teachers because Dallas do things very differently. They used to, I don't know if they still do, they used to pay teachers based off of their testing scores. And a lot of people are like, and you know what? And what it really is a lot of parents who know nothing about teaching are like, well, they don't need to get paid if they're not making sure their kids pass. Well, little Jimmy over here went to sleep every day in class and I'd have called his mama every single day. I cannot force little Jimmy to pass his test with flying colors or even just pass it if he's not getting rest at the house, then he got to come to school and go to sleep because he up all night either making money, watching his sisters or brothers, or playing video games, or watching TV because his mama or daddy won't let him or make him go to sleep. So it's more so, you can't hold testing scores over teachers, because I'm not a good test taker. I've never been a good test taker. I went my whole life sometimes barely passing tests because I'm just not a good test taker. A lot of kids aren't good test takers, and that's okay. And now we're going into where the tests are not going to be paper anymore. They're going to be strictly online. How that's going to go, I don't know. Because some school districts did paper, like my school did paper. But like I say this, I mean, the cost of living is expensive. Like we were just talking about earlier, a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,500.